to Anime Death Spiral, the only anime podcast that didn't get to have its coffee this morning, so get off my fucking back. We're back here again to talk about anime, I guess. I don't know. Fine.
We could talk about anime. I'll talk about anime.
I guess we could talk about anime. We'll talk about some anime.
I mean, we could, like, ramp into it.
Yeah, I gotta get up front. You people may have noticed an absence last week. We have to apologize. You know, I know that you're all used to a certain level of standard and decorum around here.
You're going to apologize to these freeloaders?
You know what? It's good to stay. Yeah, they're the ones with the pitchforks and the torches, man. You have to stay on their good side. Okay.
All right. I mean, I put in a lot of work, and I'm not getting a lot back.
You don't want to get hashtag canceled, do you?
Do you know how much pure, just week-to-week research I have to do for this show? Do you even have any idea how much prep work?
No, I do have an idea. We've talked about it extensively before. We do not do research. At least I don't. I do no research. I am not an informed opinion. If you're out here listening to the things I say seriously, that's on you. I do not recommend it. I just say stuff. Like I'll admit that. You know.
Oh, I do massive amounts of research.
No, really.
For example, when I'm not watching anime, I'm doing anime adjacent things just to get, the broad view. I want to immerse myself in the milieu of anime.
You're doing stuff like studying Japanese history and language.
Oh no, I would never. No, none of that. I would never do that. I don't care. But I am replaying Unicorn Overlord again, and that's anime. That's a lot of anime.
Oh, okay, that kind of research. Okay.
I found out, I did not know this on my first playthrough, but I found out you can marry your sister in that game. So that's fun. That's a little bit of research I did.
Uh-oh. Hashtag Unicorn Overlord canceled. Canceled.
I didn't say anything about canceling it. You can marry like one of like 100 people on that game. Just having a sister around, that it's just being thorough. That's it. I've been listening to the Vampire Hunter D books again. I've started that up.
Cool.
Hideyuki Kikuchi. We got Amino's on that shit. Though I don't know how much writing Amino maybe is contributing to that project, but those books are anime as hell. They fucking whip.
Well, yeah, for sure. And I think it's funny that you bring that up because I just started reading the second Dark Tower book. And I think that...
You think that's anime?
I think it has elements. I was thinking more that the character of Roland is very much in conversation with the same influences that the character of D is drawn from.
Oh, sure. Yeah, a little bit. I would say so. He's pulp genre stuff.
Obviously they're both doing Clint Eastwood is like the biggest one, right?
Well, I mean, I think D is kind of a mishmash.
D is like Bishan and Clint Eastwood.
A little bit. I think of it more as like, obviously he's a vampire, so he's impossibly beautiful and elegant and ethereal, right?
Yeah.
But he's also like, he's drawing from these early genre pieces. Like Vampire Hunter D stories are basically, I mean, they do have a lot of Clint Eastwood like Western DNA, but also they are building off of like Conan the Barbarian, right? There's so much Conan in there. And also like Michael Moorcock, like the Elric of Melniboné. There's a lot of Elric.
I was thinking Elric is probably like the primordial ooze that all of these characters like crawled out of. Right?
Elric whips, absolutely. I think everybody who's into like pulp genre stuff eventually is gonna like get to Elric. But like Elric is also riffing on Conan. I think Conan has like, he is this like, he is the primordial soup, and I know people. Conan is also rooted in a historical context, but like Conan is big stuff. Conan came out, and that is the birth of like the dope fucking cool ass dude who's just like in genre fiction.
Yeah.
That dude rocks. And he's going between fantasy lands that are sort of like like reality, but not, because they're filled with like monsters and weird guys who do magic and stuff. Mm-hmm. You know, and
yeah, it's funny that like Conan and his whole thing
being a barbarian,
his thing of being a barbarian. So I'm trying to who's
the Riddle of Steel.
Who is Conan's creator again? I'm blanking on the name here.
Robert E. Howard, I believe.
Robert E. Howard was a contemporary and, like, by all accounts, a pretty close personal friend to H.P. Lovecraft, and was like one of the guys that was like, you know, in letters was like, hey, Howard, tone down like the race essentialism just a little bit. It's making everybody uncomfortable over here. Love the stuff, by the way, but like, you know, maybe back it up just a smidge. I thought it was really funny reading those letters between them.
It is funny. Those things are very weird. Well, that's like, you know, that's where a lot of this stuff comes from. Hey, then this is also like a bunch of anime stuff. All this genre stuff totally influences all modern anime in some ways. But like,
for sure.
He was back then doing the H.P. Lovecraft stuff, and they were all part of this like weird fiction before our modern idea of genre really kind of came into its own later on, when we developed this like needless obsession with categorization, which is also the weird thing about shonen and shoujo and seinen, I have to say as well. I'm sure we've mentioned that, but like that shit sucks. It is weird.
I mean, it's okay. So those terms
into that stuff.
I have like a whole thing I can say about those things, but the short of it is that I think those terms are marketing terms first that got adopted by fandom in this weird nebulous definition of what they each mean. But they're just ways to break down like target audience demographic, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and all genre labels are marketing. You know, when you call something like a fantasy, right?
Yeah.
A fantasy story, you're just slapping on a label to develop like an audience's expectation of the work. Like that's all it does.
Yeah.
Is say, oh, I like this category of a thing, so I'm more likely to buy this book because somebody called it fantasy. Mm-hmm. And when Robert E. Howard was writing Conan, or like Edgar Rice Burroughs was writing Tarzan, or like all of these guys, you know, Jack London or whatever. Kipling was writing these like bizarre stories about like, you know, African voodoo, whatever he thought that was. Fucking racist British people. None of them were calling them like fantasy stories, right? It was like pulp. It was pulp novels. It was weird fiction.
Well, and all of those guys were, you know, it goes back further. All of those guys were pulling from like British Penny Dreadful, you know, like pulp novels from the late 1800s, like, you know, Arthur Conan Doyle stuff.
Yeah.
You know, which brings us all the way back to Case Closed. It's all anime, you know?
It is all anime.
It's all anime all the way down.
Case Closed. I mean, all that detective shit, that's Sir Arthur Conan Doyle.
Yeah.
That's Sherlock. And Sir Arthur Conan Doyle was also like a weird fiction guy, because he also wrote these like weird horror stories and like fiction stories. And he turned out to be like a real weirdo later in life when he thought ghosts were real. He's a weird guy. He's a weird guy. But anyway, Hideyuki Kikuchi is like pulling from all of that stuff. And like Vampire Hunter D's stories are just the absolute ultimate soup of all of that shit being like directed out of this like prismatic laser of anime, and it's like just perfect genre stuff, to the point where I am always baffled that they didn't make 40 fucking Vampire Hunter D movies, because Vampire Hunter D is so anime. It's like the platonic ideal of anime.
And having rewatched both the original movie and Resurrection pretty recently, within the last year or so.
The sequel?
Yeah, the sequel. The one that had that was directed by Yoshitaka Amano, like the guy.
Right.
I also am baffled by like why it wasn't a bigger thing, because both those movies kick ass in different ways. Like, they're very different films overall, but they both are like pretty cool. I particularly have a very big soft spot for the original Vampire Hunter D.
It's great
because that was one of those like movies that they always had at my local Blockbuster's anime section.
Yeah.
And when I first like had the ability to like go and just rent stuff for myself, like that was like, I rented like that and Dark Side Blues and Evil City, I think. Was that what it was called? The one that was
Demon City?
Yeah, Demon City.
Demon City?
Demon City Shinjuku.
Demon City Shinjuku.
All those
the good shit.
Ninja Scroll, all that like dark 80s OVA. Like gritty
overly
stuff.
Sexual, weird shit.
Yeah. Which, explains a lot about why I am the way I am today.
Certainly a lot. I found that movie in a pile of VHS tapes when I was way, way too young to watch it. And I threw that shit on, and then it changed me.
It was all different after that point.
Yeah.
I mean, we have talked about the original Vampire Hunter D on this show before, but
of course. And I will continue to bring it up all the time.
Yeah.
Because it
bears repeating
so hard.
that the evil vampire at the end of that movie is named after Christopher Lee.
Yeah. Count Magnus Lee.
Yeah, the evil Count Lee. Like, come on, that is the dopest shit.
Yeah. It's great. Oh, and also he names all the towns. Like, a lot of the towns are just named after, like, horror writers from this era, too. And some, like, later on, like, horror. There's, in the one I just read, there is a town called Cronenberg, which is very funny.
Honestly, like, this just goes back to what I was saying earlier. Vampire Hunter D and The Dark Tower are very in conversation with each other in this, in this kind of, like, they are playing off of metaversal narrative archetypes and memes and tropes in all these things.
And we know in 20th Century Boys that one of the characters does read a Stephen King book in the library. So
it all ties together.
It all ties together.
Follow the money, people.
It's insanely funny to me that almost every paragraph of this book mentions how insanely fucking hot D is. It comes up all the time.
He's angelically beautiful.
He's so extraordinarily beautiful. And the one I just listened to, because I got a dramatization for some of these. One of the characters is a beautiful man who wants to kill D because he's more handsome than him. It's like, what?
I mean, we have to remember that in the 80s movie, I don't know how much carryover it has with the novels, but in the 80s movie, the female lead in that story offers to pay D for his vampire hunting abilities by sleeping with him. And it's just like, first of all, you're getting something. That's not really a payment. You're getting something out of that too, ma'am. It's like people are throwing themselves at this guy.
There is a part in one of the books where a evil German doctor, his power is that if he draws a portrait accurate enough of you, he can whisper commands to the portrait and you do them.
He can Dorian Gray you?
And if he draws it in his own blood. And there's a part where he's drawing D out in public, like at a fair, and the women start fighting each other just to buy the picture of D.
Awesome.
It's awesome. He's so fucking hot. It's crazy. It's just, their books are good. They're good books. They're just straight entertainment from start to finish. It's fantastic. But I also did watch anime. I mean, like, on top of that stuff, I am doing the just the straight up like visual type animation anime as well, of course.
Oh, okay.
And,
all right.
I have been biting into the season. We're starting to knock these out. Because all this research would be for naught if we didn't actually get to
that is true.
The meat of it.
Mm-hmm. Now, we've both watched a fair amount of anime so far this season. I would say both of us are quite ahead of our curve in terms of staying on top of premieres in a season. And we have a couple here.
Better than last season.
Yeah, better than last
That's
season for sure. We've got a couple here that we've got some crossover in what we've both watched. So when we talk about those, now I want to start off with, because I think I liked this one quite a bit. I watched Witch Hat Atelier, the anime.
And we watched Witch Hat Atelier, the anime. We both watched this. And, apologies for maybe being brief since we've discussed this on our deleted episode.
Oh yeah, that's what I was getting at the beginning of all this. There is lost anime death spiral media out there. We said some horrible things. We got a little too rowdy on that episode. We decided it could never see the light of day. So we have put that one in the vault. We didn't have an episode last week. It is never going to be released. So we're going to try and, kind of do it right this time.
My takes were so strong, my computer deleted itself. That's never happened before.
It's self-unalived.
Yeah. But we did talk about Witch Hat Atelier and Marriagetoxin on that episode.
Yes.
And I don't want to, do my exact same rant because that feels weird.
I was thinking about that, just do we say the same things that we said last time?
Yeah, but in a really stilted way.
It feels plagiaristic almost.
We've rehearsed for it.
Yeah.
But I will say the things I still believe about it, which is that we've talked about the manga and it's been running for a long time, and the manga is very gorgeous and it's a very cute, fun, kind of classic fable story, which in the classic fable story has nice, fun fantasy stuff and is tinged with the right amount of darkness, which is great. And they nail both of those tones in the first episode.
Yeah.
And I think that's fantastic because it really immediately lays the groundwork for how the story shifts back and forth from this fun, traditional adventure story for this girl, discovering her talent, and the weird underlying darkness of a world that is built on fascist magicians. And I think it does a really good job at both of those things.
Man, you cannot escape the fantasy setting with fascist magicians. It's just, it feels like it always happens. Have you noticed that? Every time that you got an organized group of magic people in a story, they always end up being fascist about it. What's up with that?
Well, it's because magic is fascist.
Yeah, magic is fascist.
It's just fascist. It's just a fascist thing.
Superpowers are fascist.
There's fun is fascist. It's all chauvinistic of you to even want the idea of manipulating reality. This is what Mashley was about, the eugenic fascism of doing magic. And I think this story is very funny because it does, in episode 1, it does straight up, not exaggerating, it does lay out the fact that magicians are literally fascistically suppressing magic from the masses.
They're all liars. The basic conceit of the world is that magic exists. Only magicians are allowed to do it because first of all, they tell everybody that it's a genetic thing. Which is the lie. Turns out anybody can do magic.
Right off the bat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It turns out anybody can do magic because it's just like drawing, like a little kid would do. And it turns out that the little kid, who is the main character of the story, learns how to draw the magic circles and becomes a wizard Harry. That's the basic setup. Except her Hagrid is like a beautiful Satoru Gojo dude.
Yeah, he's a one monocled beautiful man with silvery hair and a stupid little dunce cap.
Yeah. God, I hate the caps. I do not like the stupid little...
The caps are funny. They all wear dunce caps. I think it is funny that they're doing Men in Black shit to everybody constantly. They're doing the neuralizer to civilians all the time. Because actually, they're all pretty sloppy, and they reveal their secret pretty easily, and then they just have to neuralize everybody.
They don't really go into that in the first episode, but that was going to be my next question. Is it feels very convenient for the plot that this is the first time someone has ever accidentally like learned how wizards do magic. Because
dog. It
in the
happens
first
all the
episode,
time.
this dude is he is sloppy as fuck guarding that shit. He doesn't even close the windows in the room that he's doing his magic in. But it turns out that they can just erase people's memories whenever they want.
Yeah, they're going around neuralizing large parts of people's memories, just like blasting them out of their skull.
It was swamp gas reflecting off of Venus.
Hey, that's fascist.
Oh yeah,
it's like that is fascist.
Not a good look.
Yeah, you could be like, okay, no, you're going too far. Like magic users aren't fascist just for doing magic. Well, okay, fine, but like brainwashing people just because they like peeked through a window. Yeah, come on.
Yeah,
come on. You can't do that shit. That's bad.
Oh, what are you gonna...
doing it in a systematic fashion? Wow. I wonder what we'd call that.
And isn't it weird that Hugo Boss designed their little wizard hats?
Their dunce caps.
Yeah.
Stupid fucking dunce caps. Yeah. Yeah. It is really interesting, and I've been thinking a lot about like what is the market for anime recently, because there's been a lot of like upheaval and a lot of like people thinking out loud about the future of anime, and
which is like not a sentence you should take seriously, people. No one should ever think seriously about the future of anime. That's not a...
Well, it's like it's the money. I mean, what they're talking about is money, right?
Sure.
And I think it's interesting that this is the one, because as I've mentioned, it is gorgeous. It is beautifully animated. It just looks fantastic. It pays off on what the manga looks like in a great way. And it's just interesting. It's always interesting to me season to season to see where they put a shit ton of money, you know?
Yeah.
And I know this manga is very popular. And it kind of does that perfect thing where it straddles the line between like it's okay for like younger teens and older teens, and like that is the sweet spot for the market. But there's not really anything else like it this season. So I'm just curious where these choices are being made.
Well, I think part of it is coming off of the success of stuff like Frieren and Dungeon Meshi. Obviously, I think there's been a big like current resurgence in demand for these
non-isekai fantasy.
Yeah, classic fantasy. Is that a term that we can use now?
Clantasy.
Yeah.
You know how it's like romantasy now?
Yeah.
They don't want to be called YA novels. They want to be called romantasies.
I don't like that. I don't...
So there's like clantasies.
Clantasy sounds like something different. I also don't like that.
You don't like that?
No.
You don't like clantasy? Okay, fine. We'll come up with something else later.
We'll workshop that one. But yeah, I think that part of it is because I think this is like, in a weird way, I think that this is a knock-on effect of just kind of the emanating cultural relevance of like the resurgence in Western fantasy that Game of Thrones brought about. And I think
then destroyed.
And I think that that made the anime market kind of go, well, I guess fantasy's back in. Let's bring back Record of Lodoss War. Let's do it modern, which I do think actually is due for a big modern resurgence. I would like to see that. Yeah,
I like Lodoss War.
But yeah, I think that just in general, just in the world zeitgeist, there's been a resurgence in like classic medieval fantasy tropes in media. Maybe that has something to do with the rise in conservative sentiment worldwide. I don't know. I'm not a sociologist yet.
Yeah,
I'm just saying that Ben Shapiro really likes those Pendragon books, and he tried to make his own Game of Thrones for his stupid website based off of the Pendragon cycle.
Sure. Hey, we've got 80 different weapons security companies all named like Narsil, Elendil.
Not naming any other major defense contractors named after Tolkienian jargon.
The blade of the West, I believe, is what Aragorn's sword is literally called. I don't know about that, man. I don't know. The blade of the, oh my god damn it, Tolkien. This is, so far, let's move on, but so far this is one of the good ones, man.
This is really good.
This is good shit.
You know, I think one of the main points that I wanted to come across from what I talked about previously in the last time we tried was I noted a big resemblance in this between this setup and like the setup for the story of Full Metal Alchemist, and I think that there's a lot of influence being drawn there, which is interesting because Hiromu Arakawa, the author of Full Metal Alchemist, also has a new anime out this season.
Arakawa is back, and not with that.
And it's not about farming, or it's not about dairy farming.
I was gonna say it's not about that weird moon shit. Moonrise. Did you watch any of that?
No, I only watched Moonfall. You know, the movie about the moon falling on the earth.
And that's not Melancholia?
No, that's not Melancholia. That's the Van Zandt. Yeah, Gus Van Zant's Melancholia.
It's 99% more boring.
Yeah.
She did the designs for Moonrise, the Netflix anime that was like half 3D. And it was not great. But she's back. Demons of the Shadow Realm, Yomi no Tsugai. I've been talking about this for a while because I was reading it since chapter 1, and it's fucking great. The manga's great. And I was interested to see what they were going to do with her art style. We've established what Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood looks like, so I was interested to see, where we're going with. And
it looks like that.
It looks exactly like.
I mean, I don't know what you were expecting.
Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood.
It's made by mostly the same team from Bones who worked on Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, and they got back most of the same voice cast from Brotherhood, both Japanese and English VA, to do the voices in this. It's almost like they are intentionally saying hey everybody, this is from the Full Metal Alchemist guys, please watch it, this is going to be good. You like Full Metal Alchemist?
They really wanted to establish a continuity there, which is not bad. I like Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, and I think this show looks pretty good. It doesn't look as good as Witch Hat.
No,
hard to do.
Very hard to do, but Witch Hat, they were flexing a little bit with that one. They were trying to impress people. This is Bones doing very standard quality Bones work. And like we said, if you're familiar with Full Metal Alchemist or Brotherhood, then you can know what to expect out of this one. And I think the strength of both of those series is that, unlike with a lot of anime, they are pretty consistently quality throughout the entire run of the show, which is pretty long, 52 episodes in each series, and all of them look roughly the same level of quality animation. That's
they all look the same.
not the same, but I'm saying a lot of anime, they front load the budget, so to say, and you get to a third of the way, if not past just the first 3 episodes of a series, and you notice a steep decline in the amount of frames they decide to use and the amount of dialogue only scenes they decide to focus on over actual action stuff. And again, we get it. Animating is difficult. It's expensive. It takes a long time. But that makes it even more appreciated when you can keep up that level of quality through the entire run of the season. That's my point.
Sure. And this is the one I think that really perked up my watch partners. They really appreciate it. I think mainly because the episode 1 twist is so strong.
It's a good one. It's a good one.
It's a good twist.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's not a huge spoiler because it happens within like the first 5 minutes.
I guess we will say
like,
they say spoilers here, but yeah, go ahead.
Sure, spoilers here, but they do the village. They just do the village. They do the village in 5 minutes. They speed run the village.
This is the village, but also Pokemon, but also JoJo a little bit. It seems like
JoJo-mon.
Yeah, the village JoJo-mon. Like imagine if, imagine if Joaquin Phoenix, right, instead of dressing up like a monster, right, and scaring people, what if instead he had like a monster that floated behind him, like it stood behind him. It was standing behind him, but only he could see it. Him and other monsters that stand behind their users.
Yeah,
and
the attuned.
Yeah, and they could only see each other, and then they have like monster fights with their monsters, these standing monsters, if you will.
It'd be like instead of the girl, who I can't remember now who played the girl, but instead of her escaping the village, what if one of those planes that they keep seeing, like, dropped a bunch of soldiers onto the village and they started killing everyone?
Yeah.
And some of them had monsters. That fucking rocks.
Yeah, no, it's cool. The basic setup is that we've got like a hidden village up in the mountains, and you have a set of twins are born. This is all prologue stuff. You have the sun twin with blonde hair and a dark-haired twin, and for some reason people are freaked out about that. They don't really go into it in the first episode, but it's a bad sign. And then we cut to 17 years later, and our Edward Elric, because that's who this guy is. If I had to give one criticism to this whole thing right off the bat, is that maybe Hiromu Arakawa is kind of comfortable a little bit in her character designs for certain archetypes. Maybe that's just me. I recognized a lot of reused assets in these characters, though.
She has types that she enjoys.
Yeah.
For the record, I do like him a lot more than Ed.
Oh, really?
I actually like these twins a lot more than Ed and Al. I think they're more fun characters.
Huh.
They're less grating as the series goes along. I have to say, Ed gets really fucking annoying in Full Metal Alchemist. I'm sorry. I don't want to sound like a hater because I do like Full Metal Alchemist, but that dude kind of sucks.
Well, I mean,
we all admit it? He's kind of sucks.
Listen, he's a child soldier scientist genius. He's got a lot on his mind.
Yeah, and he's apolitical.
He's an apolitical Nazi scientist.
Yeah, I don't really keep up with the news. He keeps saying to everybody he meets who's like a Nazi, it's like, okay, man. All right, dude.
Anyway, our blonde-haired, red-eyed protagonist character is going about his life as a chosen child in the village. And for some reason, they keep his sister, who is the dark-haired twin, locked up in a cell underground for ambiguous reasons, presumably because they just like being a dick to her. I don't know how these people operate, but then we are hit with a big twist, which is that they are not like some rural, like ancient ninja village or whatever that we are presented as. This is the modern times. The force field that is hiding their village from the outside world breaks down, and they are invaded by TAC Ops dudes in helicopters and like tactical equipment. And they come in to murder the hell out of his weird sister. Although it turns out that what he thought was his sister isn't actually his sister, because his sister is the one that's leading the TAC Op guys, but like I guess his real sister. who is a tactical person from the outside world, but also it turns out that she has a stand, and she's got like minions that have stands.
Hell yeah.
And they're like killing villagers left and right. And then it turns out, it turns out that the big dog statues, the dragon dog statues that are outside the village gate, they're actually like Pokemon stands that are Edward Elric wakes up and they become his stand fighters. And so he's got a pair of like lightning dogs that he uses to fight the evil stands that the tactical tac ops guys are using. But then after the fight, it turns out that his dragon dogs can also turn into like sexy people.
Yeah, they're like Fujin and Raijin.
Yeah, they're like big
kind of thing.
They're like big kind of oni coated and muscular, and they wear skimpy clothing, and they got big muscles. Hiromu Arakawa really likes muscles. Have you noticed that?
They're big and muscly. They're pretty cool. They want to beat people up all the time.
Yeah.
They don't really know what's going on, and neither does our main character ever.
More importantly,
good
one of them is a lady with big muscles. She's a big, sexy muscle lady, and I find that intriguing.
Very important that is part of the story.
That's pretty much my main takeaway from this series so far.
And this is a thing that I never got really explained to me, like what the basis is. Maybe this is just a thing she came up with, but it felt like one of those things that maybe is floating around in Shinto or something like that, where they always come in pairs.
I think that is kind of like tied into just a lot of like the core of Eastern philosophy, because you have like the Taoist, hot and cold philosophy, yin and yang. I think that,
and they're twins, of course.
Yeah.
It's about twins.
And I think just in particular, Hiromu Arakawa in her works has a fascination with siblings and twins. Just overall, maybe that's just something that she's like personally finds aesthetically interesting.
Two people.
Yeah. Hey, they're like two people, but like next to each other.
Yeah, they're like, it's cool when there's two of them. It's just cool that way. I think it's cool.
Well, I think it probably does go back to, I've always wondered what the small, angry older brother and the big, like, bashful younger brother. That is an archetype that keeps popping up over and over again. And I don't know if there's some kind of, like, central myth in Shintoism.
There is one. It's called the Grapes of Wrath.
God damn it.
It's a foundational mythology of all anime.
Are you thinking of Mice and Men?
Oh, fuck, I was.
Oh!
God damn it.
Wow, okay.
God damn it.
Fake fan.
God damn it.
Wow, the media literacy is really bad these days, folks.
I haven't brushed up on my Steinbeck since fucking college. Sorry.
You're right next to Monterey. You should know these things.
I forgot, okay? I got the two of them mixed up, all right? It's still anime. They're both anime. The Grapes of Wrath is also anime, if you think about it. Because of colonialism.
I mean, Eden of the East, like, that's kind of a Steinbeck reference, right?
I mean, yeah, I'm not sure the actual content of Eden of the East is... Well, if I thought about it, maybe you could make a read of it. Maybe it's just a name that they liked. I'm really not sure about that. One is a bit of a mystery to me, I gotta say.
All right, folks, welcome back to Steinbeck Death Spiral, the only anime podcast that only talks about John Steinbeck novels.
He's pretty much the only one they made us read in high school when you're from California.
It's true,
like
yeah.
It's just Steinbeck and Philip K. Dick. That's it. I was listening to somebody talk about Philip K. Dick, and in one of his stories, I think it's Dr. Blood Money. Philip K. The characters all live in Marin, after the apocalypse, and these people who are not Californians and don't know anything about California, it seems, kept calling it Marin over and over again, like it was Mark Marin, and it started driving me insane. I was like, please, God, stop saying it like that. But shout out to the masters, of course. This is going. I think this is going to be good because it is a shonen that is like not. It is not just like ninjas. It is a very classic one in that it is like guys with stands getting into stand battles.
Sure.
But there's also an interesting political dynamic that is playing out, much like in Full Metal Alchemist, where it's like one extra layer of thought has been put into it to make it interesting,
Mm-hmm.
It's not simple-minded enough to be like a demon slayer, but I think it hits all the right notes that this is going to be like a popular one this season, which I like because I like the manga quite a lot.
I did actually start reading the first couple chapters of the manga. It's Full Metal Alchemist is one of those ones that was like so foundational to my like come up in reading anime that it's weird that I haven't tried to like keep more on top of Hiromu Arakawa's career, because there's a whole ass manga in between FMA and when she started Yomi no Tsugai that I just haven't engaged with at all. Like, there's like a whole ass series in
you
there.
You haven't?
No, I haven't.
What?
I know.
Fake fan.
I know.
Oh shit, we got a fake fan. We got another fucking fake fan.
Fake fan over here. Sorry. Well, that's what I'm saying.
But
it's
at least you read the cow milking one, right?
I did read that. Well, I am intensely interested about the workings and goings on of a Japanese dairy farm. I find that absolutely fascinating. And so should all of you. In fact, if you don't, there's something wrong with you. I'm pretty confident in saying.
But she did have like a bunch of series.
I know.
That most people don't care about, like Arslan. Nobody really. That one I think actually did get an anime, but nobody really talks about it. Like I said, Moonrise, which was bad.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like what I was trying to get at is this seems like it's getting a level of attention put into the anime adaptation that we've not seen directed towards her work since Full Metal Alchemist. It feels like there was kind of a big lull in adapting her work outside of just manga publishing for, like a solid 10 years. And then Bones is really coming out of the gate with this one, both like we were saying, promoting it as like, this is from the Full Metal Alchemist team, but also just by like making it look really good. They didn't have to do that. Like, we watch a lot of anime. We know that they don't have to make it look good if they don't want to.
I mean, yeah, they don't really have to.
Yeah.
I think, hey, this is the Full Metal Alchemist author would be enough to like sell it for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
Though it did, apparently, I guess that didn't really work with Arslan. But like I said, I think this one hits all the right shonen notes that I think it'll carry us through.
Yeah.
It's good.
No, I'm definitely intrigued with this one. I like this one a lot so far. Go watch it.
Yeah, it whips.
Demons of the Shadow Realm. Not a great title. Not a great title.
Yomi no Tsugai.
Yomi no Tsugai is a bit better.
I like Yomi no Tsugai better.
You know what the literal translation of Yomi no Tsugai is?
No idea.
It's twins from the underworld.
Dope. Hell twins? Hell yeah.
Yeah, hell twins.
Hell twins.
Or more like I don't know, Hades twins?
Yeah, I would have stuck a little closer to that if I was
the hell pair.
Get me to do it next time. I'll figure something out.
I don't think Demons is a compelling name to call your little guys. You know,
well, it's Daemons, like
Daemons.
In Golden, in like Golden Compass.
Yeah,
because they're little companion guys.
I don't want to think about Golden Compass right now. I don't want to be depressed.
Let's talk about Marriagetoxin, the other one we've both watched.
Yes. This is one where I've only watched the anime, and you've been keeping up with the manga for a while, right?
For a while. I've read a fair amount. Let's say more than season 1 of this anime is going to cover for sure.
So I think my big takeaway from this was that I was not expecting it to be just a straight up comedy. And I know that we've talked about it a bunch, the manga on the show before, and you said that it was funny, but I was not expecting it to be just like straight up like gags in a lot of places.
Yes.
Which I found refreshing and welcome. I was welcome to that idea.
Yes. And in our deleted episode, I did go over like kind of what this thing is doing, especially as it progresses. I complained there. And I think when we talked about the manga way back, that like this is a show that starts off at purely as gags, like just straight up gags, and some really good gags. I think a lot of them, they do the thing that I think works the best in translation, which is a bunch of visual gags. That's where the meat is. We're not gonna get the wordplay over here. You know what I mean? And
it can be difficult to port over in the best of cases.
Pretty tough. Puns are. I think if you are writing a master's dissertation on translation, doing one on like Japanese puns is totally viable.
Oh, absolutely.
If you can actually pull that off.
I would actually be legitimately interested in reading something about like the history of Japanese wordplay. But I'm a weird little freak like that sometimes.
Well, it's interesting. I mentioned it way long ago as well when we were talking about Suicide Girls, but the edition I was reading actually had the translation explanations at the back of each chapter, which I was like, oh, this is such a treat.
I love
it. Great.
I love it when people go the extra mile and do stuff like that.
Yeah. And I want them to explain themselves. Explain yourself.
Yeah. Well,
why did you do that?
A long time ago, I was telling you about that manga I've been reading about the lady who goes around to standing bars, and like reviews different foods. And they do the same.
Yeah.
The translator doing that one does the same thing, where at the back of each chapter, they do like a breakdown of explanation of all the different like food references that happen in the chapter. And I think that's very cool.
Yeah, it's great. It's like not to go all the way back to my Steinbeck, but my edition of, Dante's Inferno has on the left hand the translated text, and on the right hand the explanation of all the translations on the left hand page.
Yeah.
Going through the entire book. It's extraordinarily rigorous. And if you ever wanted to like see what's happening in the brain of a translator, who's especially translating like a 15th century text, that's a really great pickup. If just in between manga, you want to like throw on a Dante.
Yeah. I remember in high school, my copy of A Clockwork Orange had a glossary with all of the like the Droog slang explanation in the back.
Oh man. Have you ever read Ridley Walker?
No.
It's great. It's a post-apocalypse novel, like extremely far in the future, to the point where like he has developed the English language. He's tried to develop the English language over 1,000 years, like the degradation of it after like civilization stopped in the 80s. And it's written so densely in this weird like set of slang that it takes like the first 2 or 3 chapters just to figure out how to read the book. And it's great. It's a really good book. I really like it. If you ever want to read somebody who is genuinely trying to think of what language is in a fantasy novel, like amazing. It's a really good book.
Frank Herbert did a lot of that in the Dune novels, the original ones.
Yes. Weird guy.
Yeah, weird dude.
Weird guy.
So I guess then maybe we should just...
Marriagetoxin.
Yeah. Well, let's get back to Marriagetoxin. I guess that we should just get right on into the meat of this one, which is that Marriagetoxin, it's doing a little bit of gender. It's got some gender in there a little bit.
The weirdest part about Marriagetoxin is it has a very straightforward premise that it unnecessarily complicates by inserting a bunch of gender directly in it, for almost seemingly no reason.
It decides to get real political about it.
I'm not sure if it's even political about it because it just
no, it's not. It's not actually.
And like I said, I've read a lot of the manga, and it's just not a thing that is relevant to almost all of the situations that come up. The main character is, the setup is so simple. The main character is a legendary poisoner from a legendary clan of poisoners who needs to continue the legendary clan of poisoners bloodline because everything is eugenics.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so he recruits the help of a supposedly legendary marriage swindler, and she just kind of casually drops that she is maybe a trans woman, maybe just a man who likes dressing as a woman. We never really get clarification on that.
And it's the show, it never seems to be very interested in giving clarification on that. It's an ancillary detail at best to the overall goings on.
Yes, which is, it's fine. She doesn't have to, we don't have to get into the gender thing, but this is a piece of fiction that has been, written by a person who made every choice, every decision in what happens in that story.
Yeah.
And they chose to do this and then ignore it. It raises a lot of questions and does not seem interested in answering any of those questions.
Well, I think
and it's not the kind of ambiguity that is mysterious and interesting. It is just baffling.
I think one of the questions I had for you last time we tried to talk about this was, you've been reading...
shut you down because I got so angry.
Yeah, no, it got ugly. It got ugly, but I'm going to risk it again.
Try it.
Well, you've been reading the manga, and, does it ever become, do they mention it from time to time? Do they bring it up at all?
It really does not come up. It really doesn't. And I think the only function that we really keep the ideal reader would keep in their mind that this is a thing is mainly because it creates an artificial barrier for him, our main character, simply resolving the central conflict by hooking up with
this person
partner.
Yeah.
Yes. That seems to be its only narrative function.
Okay, so we established that he's trying to continue his family bloodline. It's because, first of all, we have to establish this guy. He doesn't want to be married at all at the beginning. He wants to be a bachelor, which is fine.
As a murderer, as a professional murderer, he has correctly identified that no one wants to marry him.
Yeah,
which it makes sense.
And Mr. Frog, our protagonist, because that's his name, Mr. Frog.
Yep, Mr. Frog.
He decides to employ this, marriage swindler because in his reasoning, he says, well, you're really good at getting people to fall in love with you because you're a marriage scammer.
Because you're a con artist.
Yes.
Who is a sociopath.
And so that means that you are qualified to teach me how to become more marriageable. Because I don't care about who I marry. I just need to get married as quick as possible so that my gay sister doesn't have to forcibly get married.
Yeah, doesn't have to pretend to be straight.
Which is the other big part of his character, is that he's a number one ally.
Yeah, he's an ally.
Yeah. Loves his gay sister. Do anything for her.
I love my gay sister. I'll do anything, including like finding a date.
Yeah.
that's the how far I'm willing to go for my gay sister.
Yep.
It's a weird setup, but I will say it's not that he'll just marry anybody, because he does meet, as you could surmise, because this is the premise of a gag manga, he does meet many, many women.
Yeah.
And a lot of them do seem into him. So he is holding out for a woman that he really likes.
Well, okay,
it's not
but
like
that's what you were getting at,
person.
is that the beats that this comic goes through, like the end game, what they are inevitably setting up towards, has to be the two of them getting together, right?
This is the central friction of, I think, the entire series, which is so baffling to me, which is that, mechanistically, the way that this plot should zipper up is that over the course of the narrative of meeting these women and like trying to decide what he is actually looking for, in a traditional narrative, it would be you eventually realize the person you are overlooking is the person who is right there beside you the entire time.
Yes.
Oh my God, I never realized, like, the person who has been at my side this entire time is the person I love. And there is a lot of, not just for traditional narratives, but there's a lot of groundwork here being laid by the entire history of manga and anime itself.
Yeah.
This is anime. This is
We all
anime.
know what happens next. This is a well choreographed dance that we're all doing.
Yes. You turn to the person on your right and you go, oh shit, it's you. I'm in love with you, the person I spend all my time with. This is like multiple currently running anime. But because we established that, like, in a brief moment of what could, be interpreted as like a little bit of transphobia, he does make it very clear he is not interested in her, potentially him, because, again, we never clarify a return to this point.
We can just call her she. Like, she calls herself she most of the time.
Yes, she is always using female pronouns, at least in the translation. She almost always identifies as a woman and appears to us in a I guess a more feminine appearance. And we get many times throughout the series, because he is a dashing superhero, basically. He saves her life a bunch of times, and it's very difficult not to, like, develop feelings for the cool, handsome, tall superhero guy who is constantly saving your life. Very difficult to not fall in love with that guy, which is a point that is made a bunch of times, like, explicitly in the text here, that if you save a woman's life in a super awesome, cool way, like, she's gonna have, like, some feelings about that. And he does this to his partner a bunch of times, and she goes like, oh shit, that was like kind of awesome, and it made me feel stuff. We would assume in any other, like, rational narrative that, like, that's where we're going, is that she's in love with him and he finally realizes it. But gender, there's, like, gender here that has created this, like, bizarre, like, an unspoken, like, saran wrap between them. It's so weird.
It's you can't not address it, without acknowledging it. Or, you can't address the romantic tension between them without acknowledging that, the gender issue. And
yes,
because the show doesn't seem interested in tackling those, like, feelings and narratives in that way, then it becomes this weird like moot point, and it's like what is the point of all of this? What are we doing here if not that?
The only way I can see this resolving in a clean way, in a way that a popular Shonen Jump manga could like resolve these tensions, without just going like, hey, let's not worry about the other stuff. This guy is just like in love with a trans woman and that's okay. Which it's unfortunately, I don't think can happen in a manga like this.
Well, they've already established that that's not going to happen because he said that he's not into her. He said, I'm not into guys. I think
the only way that this could resolve cleanly is that at that moment in the beginning of the show and manga is that she lied about it.
And that makes it weird in a whole other way.
That's incredibly weird. But it's the only thing I can really it's the only conclusion I can cleanly come to is that she lied about being trans at the beginning of the series. Like that's the only thing.
I think that is unfortunately just absolutely on the table with just how I know trans issues are treated in Japanese media on a whole. I think that it would be incredibly shitty to have this character that we, establish from the beginning is either trans or at the very least, like, very comfortably gender non-conforming, or genderqueer, gender fluid. And then to just rug pull all that at the end and say, actually, no, we were lying about that. Suck it, queers. That would be such a shitty thing. And I think that is absolutely might happen, which sucks.
It's everything. The problem really is that all of these choices are extremely baffling in light of that this is just a goofy gag manga that did not need any of these complications, and none of its jokes relate to any of this gender stuff at all. It's just truly bizarre, which is probably why this series is going to take off and become extremely huge, like Spy Family level huge. And then none of these questions can ever fully be addressed because the editor's like, we can't touch on that again. We can't ruin this success of this show by like wrapping back around to the gender.
Yeah.
Truly weird.
Baffling.
Truly weird. But also, it is funny. It's a funny show.
It was really funny. I laughed quite a bit.
It was funny. I think it's funny. Yeah. I don't really know what else to say besides it's funny. Like,
yeah.
If you don't think about any of that other stuff and like blow your brain, it is funny. I don't know. I don't fucking know. I don't know.
We don't know. We're just a couple of goobers over here. We don't know anything. But I will say go watch it. I do think it's good. I think you should watch it.
I hope the manga ends so that I can figure out what the hell's going on.
We all just want to know what the hell's going on.
I just want to know what the hell's going on.
That's all anybody want. That's all any of us want.
Oh, fuck. Okay, so next episode, what do we still got on the docket? Because I have at least 4 more to talk about.
Oh, I've got at least 3 or 4 more shows I can talk about. I've got Ramparts of Ice. I've got Akane Banashi. I've got Rooster Fighter.
Yeah.
I've got Gals Can't Be Kind to Otaku.
Oh, no.
All the trash you love.
I like Rooster Fighter. I think next time I want to talk about Liar Game, the only death game on this slate, unfortunately. I want to talk about Nippon Sangoku, the only like a seemingly serious show on this slate.
Oh wow, we're being serious now.
I mean, it's just that the anime is. I want to talk about Petals of Reincarnation, which is probably the dumbest thing on this slate. And I want to talk about Mao, the Rumiko Takahashi show. We've got Hiromu Arakawa and Rumiko Takahashi on this slate. That's fucking crazy, right?
All your favorites are back.
Yeah, and then, a couple more surprise ones later on, I think. But, yeah, we'll get to it. And I don't know. I probably won't watch any of Nate's shows except for Rooster Fighter, but he should probably watch these.
I should probably watch a couple of those.
At least Mao.
You should at least give Akane Banashi a fair shot.
I might, but you know how much I hate Rakugo. I hate it so much.
It's different when it's acted out.
We'll see. We'll see.
It's worse.
It's even worse when it's acted out, when you see it for real. Okay. All right.
All right, people.
We'll find out.
Go do the stuff. Check us out. Download the downloads. Like the likes.
Watch Dorohedoro.
Watch Dorohedoro. That's good stuff.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
It's coming out. It's coming out like right now.
You know, inexplicably, we've been getting like actual comments on stuff, so I want to say thank you to the people who are actually doing that. I'm doing my best to actually respond to everybody out there, but we've got like a cool dozen so far, and that makes me a little bit happy. So thank you for that.
Don't spell it out. Come on.
No, I gotta be the nice cop. You can be the bad cop if you want. I gotta be the nice one here. Thank you to all of my adoring fans. I love you. I love you so much. Bye. Continue the research.